Hi everyone. Okay, today's goal is to try to talk you through how to create a Google site using the new Google Sites in 5 minutes or less. So here we go. If you used the old Google Sites, you had to go to sites.google.com. When you got there, you had to deal with all of your sites in one place here. You had deleted sites, you could browse your sites, you could create from here. If you go there now, you notice you have a connection to the new Google Sites. But there's a better way to do this. With the new Google Sites comes a new way to both create and store. So if you're just go to your Google Drive, if you click on the new button there, you're used to creating docs, sheets, maps, everything from here. If you click on more, you'll notice one of your options is Google Sites. And so the minute I click on that, it's going to start to create a site for me. And now it's both created from and stored inside of your Google Drive, which is a huge improvement over Google Sites because people would create them and then lose them. And so notice when it comes up, you're going to see if you use the old one, it's a huge difference. It's way more easy to navigate. It's much simpler. It is missing, obviously, a few features when they first come out, and it's a huge change in platform. You cannot, at this time, just convert one of your old sites to a new site, so that's the bad news. But let's focus on the good news, how much better this looks and how easy it is to navigate. So right away, we're starting with the title page, and you'll notice there's really only three options. I go to this Insert tab, the Pages tab, and the Themes tab. That's it, three tabs. And pretty much you're going to be spending the majority of your time inside of Insert. And so right away you're going to notice that it's set up, makes it really easy to navigate. So let's just call this My Amazing Site. And go up here where it says Untitled and say My Amazing Site. And now I've titled it and I've created the banner page. And you notice when I hover over this here, this is what is called a banner. I can change the header type. If I click on that, I can go with title only. I can go with banner, which allows me to add an image or a background graphic, or I can go with large banner. Large banner is something you would probably use for the first page of your site. So I'm going to go with large banner. But notice you can change that on the fly, so it's pretty easy to navigate. Here's the only time I'm going to go over to themes. I don't really like the way this looks. I'm going to click over here to themes, and you're going to see that you only have a few themes to choose from, but they're pretty cool and pretty easy to use. I'm going to click on vision, and over here I have a couple choices. I can change. Notice the top up here. The top of the banner is blue. I can change that to red. I can change that to green, purple, gray. I'm going to leave it at whatever this color is. I can also change the font style. Pretty, you only have a few choices. Let's switch it over to classic. So this is My Amazing Site using the vision theme and the font style of classic. So pretty much now I no longer need to go back to themes if I'm happy with this. I can check out some of the others, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to stick right there. So I'm going to go back over to Insert. And so this is it, people. This is it. You can add text boxes. Right now, embedding secondary widgets is really not supported at this time that I can see. I assume that'll be coming soon. So notice it says embed URL. It depends on the way the site's set up, but pretty much if you want to do embed your Twitter widget or something like that, it's not quite set up for that yet. But I can bring in images, I can upload certain file types. But the key advantage to using a Google site, especially if you're a school, is that you have access to everything in your Google Drive that you can easily in one click bring over to your site. And that's a huge deal, especially for kids and kids that want to create simple sites or kids that might want to use Google Sites as a portfolio site. So notice this allows me access to everything inside of my drive from one click, and I can easily just bring it over. So if you notice, we start with sort of a blank canvas. I changed the theme type. Now let's say I don't like this image, I can change the image. You can add your own images, but a bit of a caution, it will tend to center the image inside of this banner. So if you've got this great picture of mountains at the top and kind of maybe some green at the bottom, it's pretty much going to center that, and it's going to take away the effectiveness of your picture. So you can try to mess with the picture itself, but as it stands right now, I'm pretty sure it just centers it. So I tend to stick with the stock images here, or I'll just upload one of my own and blur it out. So if I choose these keys here and I click select, you're going to see that not only has it brought in a new image, but I don't know if you saw it over here where the stars were, it adjusted the background image for readability. So it made it easier for the viewer to be able to read the title of this. And so this eyeball that you see right here, I can click preview, and it's going to let me see what this site would look like to the viewer. And that's actually kind of cool. I think it is actually a little hard to read, but when you're in preview mode, this is what it would look like on a computer, this is what it would look like on a tablet, and this is what it would look like on a phone. And for those of us working with kids that might have only phones to access, this might be a good thing to preview how your site looks on a mobile device. But it's nice that we can view that and we can make adjustments accordingly. So I can exit out of this preview, it takes me right back to my editor. And notice again, this is a blank slate. I'm going to go up here and add a text box. Let's say I'm going to add a little bit about me at first. Now I want you to see this. I can click about me right here. And then notice after I click out of that, when I hover over this, I have the option to move things here. But I also have the option over here of this background palette. So I can click this and say, ooh, I want to emphasize this. This isn't about me. And so notice it tends to stack these things. I can go back over here and click text box. I have a little about me text saved, so I can paste that text. That's actually not it. I can go over here. I can grab some text that isn't about me from a site that I've already created. I can go back here and I can paste this in. And notice that you've got handles on either side of this text box. Well, I can go over here to the right, I can grab this and I can pull it in, and notice it has nice guides for us to try to level that. And wouldn't it be awesome if I could just drag an image right here? Well, guess what? If I double click in this empty area, notice what comes up. This little editing toolbar, I can go to image. And now, again, here's another advantage. I can go right into my albums. I can grab my profile photo, select it, select again, and now I have my image. And notice I've got handles for this. So I can make it bigger. And now I have a little about me, and I have text in here, and I have an image. And then when I click off of it, you can see that it's perfectly spaced and it looks really, really good. And so I can add other images if I want. I can embed links to URLs. I can add other text box. I can add another image. Let's say I want to put an image on the bottom. Let's see what else I have here. Go here, grab this image of Iguazu Falls. And now I have this pretty image at the bottom. And so now let's look at a quick preview of this site. Preview. And this is what it looks like on the mobile device. Notice the picture comes afterward, and then you've got the little picture here. But on the computer, we have a very nice looking site and way, way too big of a picture of me. So I would probably go back in and make that smaller. But it's that easy to use. So I'm going to X out of that. And I want you to see, so let's just say this is how we're going to leave this page right here. Let's say I want this picture to be a little bit bigger. I can go in here, and I can drag that. Notice when I exceeded the box size, now I've got a little bit bigger picture there. And now you can see it, it'll show up in a little bit more proportion, and we noticed that that was just a little big. So we'll just resize that a little bit. And there you have it. It's that now I have the front page. So now I want to add a new page. So I'm going to click on Pages here, and notice I can just click Add a Page. And I'm going to call this page My Notes. Let's say I had kids doing things like science notebooks or something on here. And now notice I've got a home up here in the upper right. It's creating that page for me. I've got home up here in the upper right, which was our first page, and I've got My Notes right here. And notice here, this header type is just title only, which I like. I don't know that I want banners on every single page. So we've got My Notes page here, and one of the things that I want you to notice, let's say that I wanted my notes underneath the home page. I don't want it as, I want it as like a sub page. And this is good if kids were creating this as a portfolio and they had multiple examples under science or math, etc. All I have to do under the Pages tab is grab this little element and drop it right on top of home. Now notice over here, it is a sub page of home. And if I decide, no, I don't want that, I want it to be an independent page, I grab it, separate it from the home, and now it's its own page. And now I'm going to go back to Insert, and here is where this is crazy. I can grab a whole Drive folder. I can grab a whole Drive folder. So what it's going to do is go into my Google Drive. I can grab, let's say, this Food Justice Picture folder, and I can insert it. And watch what it does. It inserts the folder where I can view the elements of the folder. And if you had your folder set, sharing permissions, to anyone with the link could view, they could click on these images and they would see the entire contents of your folder, which is a pretty cool thing. And let's say I had maybe a resume or my actual notes here. I can now just go down to docs. And I can grab one of my docs. Let's say my docs was my calendar. Insert. And so now I have, let's say I want this to be bigger. I can just drag this a little. This is how much I want it to be viewed. And drag that out. So right now I have brought in a folder. I have brought in a doc, which in this case is my calendar. And now let's preview this. Now here's what I want you to think about. Let's say we're working with kids and we have them putting notes on a document that is a running record. They're going to reflect every day. Well, guess what? Here it is, and you're seeing this. But I do not need to go to my site to continue to add to this note. I can go back to my drive. I can go down here, and I could click on my calendar. And I can add to my calendar here. Let's say here I was in room 216. And I was creating a screencast. I can highlight this, make it not bold, boom. Now, notice when I go back to my amazing site here, I'm going to hit refresh just for the fun of it. And now, when I scroll down to my calendar, it'll have room 216 creating screencast. Trust me on there, it started to put it in there. It might take just a second. But I can do my editing inside of Google Drive. So this is one of the advantages of bringing in live slide decks, you can bring in forms, you can bring in folders, you can bring in docs, maps, all kinds of things. And you notice how easy it was to resize the elements. And the last thing that I want to mention is the sharing feature is so much easier. I can add an editor just like I would add an editor on Google Docs. And in the old sites, the pages would lock if two people were on the same site at the same time. With the new sites, multiple people can be editing at the same time on the same page because it's a whole different background architecture. So that's pretty much Google Sites in 5 minutes. The last thing, easily drag and reorder the elements on the page just by grabbing the bottom of them on the side there and dragging them where you want them. So there you have it, Google Sites, amazing sites, easy to create. Hope you learned a lot. Good luck.